Have you ever thought that maybe the biggest warnings in life don't come from some mystical prophecy, but from the everyday things we try so hard to look away from? Well, today we're going to dive into an ancient text, the Devadatta Sutta, to uncover a message about how we live that is just as powerful now as it was thousands of years ago.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. If you think about old age, sickness, and even death as divine messengers, then the big question becomes, are you actually listening to what they're trying to tell you? It's a pretty wild idea that can completely change how you see life's biggest challenges. All right, so first things first, we've got to talk about who, or maybe what, these messengers actually are. Now, when you hear divine messenger, you probably picture some kind of angel with wings, right? But in this teaching, the whole idea is way more down to earth. So, the word we're looking at is Devadatta. It means divine messenger, but it's not about supernatural beings. It refers to these really obvious signs all around us that remind us, hey, life doesn't last forever. The whole point is to wake us up from living a life of heedlessness, of just not paying attention before it's too late. So, who are they?
Let's meet the first messenger, old age. We're talking about the moment you see an elderly person, someone who's a bit frail, maybe with a bent back and a cane. It's that real, physical proof that being young and strong isn't permanent. You could say it's the universe giving you a gentle little tap on the shoulder.
Next up, we have the second messenger, sickness. This is when you see someone who is really, truly sick, suffering, and maybe even needing help with the most basic things. It's a really stark reminder of how fragile our bodies can be, and that good health is something precious, not something guaranteed.
And then, of course, there's the third and most powerful messenger of all, death. This is seeing a person who has died. It's the ultimate, undeniable proof that this life has an end. It's the loudest warning there is. But what happens if we see all these messengers day in and day out, and we just don't get the message?
Okay, so this is where the story gets really dramatic. The text sets up this incredible scene, almost like a spiritual courtroom drama. A soul who lived a heedless life gets brought before Phaya Yom, the judge of the dead, to answer for, everything. And the questioning begins. Phaya Yom kicks things off with a super direct question. He points to that first, most common warning that life shows every single one of us. He's not asking about some rare, hidden sign. He's asking about something we all see.
And the soul's answer? It's simple. It's honest. There's no way to deny it. Yes, I saw. This one little admission is what sets up the knockout punch of a follow-up question.
And boom, there it is. That's the real heart of the issue. See, Phaya Yom isn't upset that the soul saw an old person. He's asking why, after seeing the reality of aging, it never clicked for them to think, hey, that's going to be me someday. Maybe I should focus on doing good things while I can.
And the questions just keep coming, moving right on to that second messenger. The imager here is so raw. A person's so sick they're helpless. It's another universal sight, another warning sent out into the world.
And once again, the soul has to admit it. Yep, I saw that too. You can see this pattern forming, right? The warnings were there, they were seen, they were totally clear.
Phaya Yom asks the same powerful question again, really hammering home the point. Seeing someone else suffer should make us think about our own vulnerability, and that should light a fire under us to live a better, kinder life while we have our health.
And then comes the final question about that third messenger, the one that's just impossible to ignore, the undeniable, final proof of where this journey ends for all of us.
And here it is, the soul's big confession. It wasn't ignorance. It wasn't that the signs weren't there. The problem was, they were heedless. They failed to connect what they saw in the world to their own life, a failure to think and a failure to act.
So, what happens now? What's the consequence? Well, the story gives us an answer that's both pretty tough but also weirdly empowering. It's all about taking total ownership of your choices.
Wow, Phaya Yom makes it incredibly clear. You can't blame your mom, your dad, your friends, your situation. Your actions were your own. And so the results of those actions, they're yours to handle too. It's a really powerful statement about personal responsibility.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty heavy, right? But here's the beautiful thing. This story isn't actually meant to scare us about what happens after we die. Its real purpose is to teach us how to live right now. It's all about flipping the script on how we see these messengers.
This is the real takeaway. The Devaduta aren't supposed to be terrifying. Think of them more like a cosmic alarm clock. They're nature's way of shaking us awake from just going through the motions, urging us to pay attention to what really truly matters.
So what's the unspoken message from all of them? It's actually super simple and incredibly powerful. Every time we see one of these messengers, it's like they're silently telling us, do good things now before this happens to you. It's a reminder that our time to act is limited.
Okay, so this is all great ancient wisdom, but how do we actually apply it to our crazy modern lives? Well, the text gives us a really clear choice to make, a fork in the road between two very different ways of living.
And here's the choice, laid out plain and simple. On one side, you've got the heedless life, a life of misconduct with your actions, your words, and even your thoughts. But on the other side, inspired by the messengers, is the awakened life, one of good conduct in all those same areas. It's about choosing to act with kindness, speak with truth, and think with compassion.
So at the end of the day, what this incredible story is telling us is to completely reframe how we see life's biggest hurdles. Old age, sickness, and death aren't a curse to be afraid of. They're actually a gift to remind us to wake up and truly live the one life we've got.
And really, that whole idea just leads to this one simple, beautiful wish. Thank you so much for joining me for this. May everyone be happy.